So now I'm here with Chris from Novation. Hi Chris. There's a new version of the Launchcontrol XL.
Very happy to say we've got the new Launchcontrol XL here with us at Superbooth, and we're showing this off. It's coming along very nicely. And yeah, so if you're into controlling hardware or software, the Launchcontrol XL, this version, which we're calling Mark III, is perfect for that.
Can you answer me one question?
Yeah, for sure.
Do I still need my Midi Host Box to power this with my Octatrack?
Should we throw a big party? Because no, we don't. I have a little story for you here. Okay. 12 years ago, at Amsterdam dance event, I did my first ever video for Novation. And it started a lot of video work for Novation. And I was asked to do a performance, and I wanted to use the brand new then Launchcontrol, the original. And I did a performance where I used it connected to the Octatrack. And I said I used all the faders to control the volumes, but we only had USB outs on this device. So I needed a computer next to it, and then a MIDI interface. And this was before USB hosts and MIDI interfaces were readily available. And so, of course, I was doing dawless jamming, but using a DAW to get the MIDI out. So, yeah, I'm a very happy man because, yes, if I lift this up, we've got 5-pinned-in MIDI on the back of the device. And we've got inputs, outputs, and one that is a through or a second output. So if you want to control several devices.
I was expecting like mini TRS MIDI cable, but you have 5-pin.
Yeah, it's full size on here. We managed to fit that in. Even in still a very small design case, we've still got the full 5-pin in there, so that's great. And then, of course, we've got MIDI over USB as well for devices that want to connect via USB. So in terms of what we have on the hardware, the differences are, if you look at it, it's very similar. We have 24 knobs, we have 8 faders.
Are they touch sensitive?
They're not touch sensitive, but if I want to find out, for example, what does this knob control? If I press Shift and move the knob, I get a readout in the brand new screen. And it won't change the value there as I hold Shift.
Oh, that's nice.
If I leave Shift, now of course I can change the value. So this lets me find what control I need.
Nice.
You can also see we've got LEDs under each of them.
Can you name them?
Yeah, we can name them, of course. So this one is for circuit tracks, and this is the cutoff for the filter. And you see there, cutoff.
Nice.
This is the resonance. This is a filter drive. This is a distortion.
Okay.
So you can name the controls in here, no problem. Another nice thing as well, we have LEDs. These can be any color. The original Launchcontrol XL had 3 colors. Yeah, 4 colors, I guess. And now we have full color. And I don't know if this is coming through on the phone, but now we have a dim and a full light.
Ah, nice.
So this is going to give you an indication of where it is in the value on there.
Is it battery powered?
It's not battery powered, no, it's USB powered.
Ah, USB, okay. Yeah.
So I mean, at the minute,
Need a power bank.
yeah, well, if you want to use it remotely, or you can use a phone charger or any kind of USB charger. That's if you're going to use it, in a standalone mode.
Yeah.
So I mean, that in itself makes me a very happy man, because I got a lot of grief in the comments in that video saying it's the most expensive MIDI interface in the world. But now obviously it's built in, which is wonderful. So I'm very happy about that. Now we've got encoders now as well. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the encoders. So they're encoders. On the old one, it was pots. But again, if you're interested in using Electron, you're going to be very familiar with encoders anyway, because that's what they have. But what's interesting with these is, if I move very slowly, I'm having quite detailed increments of 1.
Yeah.
It's just moving up by 1.
Is it like MIDI 1 to 127? Or is
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is. We get 127 values here. That's 7 bits. We can set it to 14 bits if we have 14-bit controls as well. But what's interesting here is I can go very slow and detailed with my controls. But if I go fast, you see half a turn, I get to the full range. And that's because we've got acceleration in these encoders, which is actually a really neat thing, because I can kind of determine the speed of how I want the change to happen.
this feature on the circuit also?
I think it is actually, on the encoders here, Yeah, we can kind of go slowly or we can go fast.
I heard of this before.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's nice. So that's how the encoders are working there. Now this is one custom mode. This current one is set to be, if I remember correctly, is the Circuit Track Synth Editor. This is just one.
Program it via components.
Exactly. Yeah, I've got components here to do that. But just before I show you that, we've got 15 slots, 15 custom spaces. So we can have 15 different sets of mappings stored directly in the device. And so if I want, for example, here I've got a mixer for my OPXY. Here I've got the Circuit Track Synth Editor. This is the track controls for the OPXY. These are, where are we? Some extra controls for the Novation P. So you can see I've got lots of different sets of controls. The LEDs are changing, of course, with each one.
You can just toggle through them. You don't have to push shift or something.
No. Just go into mode here, and now I can just move between them. When I'm in the mode that I want, when I come out of mode, now I have additional controls here. The switches at the bottom now have an on color, and you can also set an off color. And at this point, the off color for this setup is no LED, so off.
Okay.
But I could change the color for the off position if I prefer.
Like green and red or something.
Exactly right. Yeah, you can do that, of course. So that's basically it from a hardware point of view. In the mode section, we've also got controls for DAW. So this is the DAW mixer. I've got it connected to Ableton at the minute, but it works perfectly well with Logic, Cubase, FL Studio. We have nice scripts available for those. So I have a mixer mode and then a control mode. And in control mode, these become the parameters for my devices. For example, in Ableton, I can control my effects, my instruments with the controls.
Are there any templates available for?
Well, the thing is, these are all, I mean, you can set up as you wish within Ableton very easily. But this is giving me access to everything, and I've got a page button here, and it's difficult to see perhaps on the screen, but now I can, this is the envelope attack, this is the envelope decay. If I move up a page, this is my filter frequency, this is my filter LFO. So I can page through all of the available controls there. We've also got transport controls, play and record, and if we're in Ableton, we've also got a song position locator. So we can use this to find our place in the DAW.
Can it work as a clock source for like MIDI out and being a clock source for my dawless setup?
We don't have clock directly in here, but it's a great idea, I have to be honest. So maybe at some point in the future, perhaps we could take a look at that. But at this moment, I don't think we plan to have clock directly in here at the moment. But I do, but I like the idea though, especially as we've got a start-stop here. But anyway, if we just move quickly to the computer here, this is the component software. So if I would go to new components, create new custom mode. And here is an example of the Launchcontrol XL. So if I maybe want to change this fader, here's a good one for Octatrack and Digitakt users. Go to CC value 7, and we put that to MIDI channel 1. That's track 1 volume now. And I can do, actually, I'm just going to put the mic down to show this, but I'll hold shift and I'll select all of them at the same time, which is really useful. So now I can then say, okay, let's put them all on channel 7, okay? And now each one is on channel 7. I now just have to go and say, okay, channel 1, channel 2, and so on and so on, 3, 4, etc. And now if I'm happy with that setting, I've now got 4 tracks, again on the Octatrack. I remember that channel 7 is the volume, which is a standard CC. But now I can say, okay, let's send this to the launch control, and I'll send this to number 9. Now this will give me an error message because it's early firmware, but let's just show this. So, okay, and then, okay, something went wrong, but it didn't really, because now if I go over to my launch control, if I go to mode 9, now this is now sending those messages, CC7 on the different channels. So so basically we can create our own mappings in here. And also again, I should say as well, there's an encoder. We can give each one of these elements a name. So maybe I would call this, I don't know, let's say Filt Cutoff. There we go, give it a name. We can have a control change or an NRPN on the knobs. We can choose the number. the minimum value and the maximum value, so we can set a range for that. We can give each encoder its own individual channel, as we saw before with the volume. And I can also choose the color as well. So I say, okay, I want this one to be purple. And then we can, we can basically send that over. And now I've created my own mapping. Of course, I can populate all of these into my own mapping. And there you go.
I can type in the name there, and then
Yeah.
the name is displayed here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've not spelt it. Well, I've used small letters, but let's try it anyway. Once again, please ignore this error message because we're still in development on this. But if we go to pack 9, there we go. It's the pink one here. And you should see there, filter cut off as I move it. So yeah, you can give each of the encoders a label. Yeah, just basically set it up as you like. The thing about the Launchcontrol XL is it's a very, very powerful controller, but in reality, it's a collection of encoders and faders and switches that you decide how you want to use it, There are going to be presets. There are going to be some existing templates that you can download from Novation components, but we would encourage you to go and make your own mappings because the whole point to this is to give you the controls you want for your instruments and synths. So yeah, so that's really the Launchcontrol XL.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Cheers.